their layout, especially compared to the very samey Zebes from Metroid 1. Another way the game struggles is that the map screen is pretty unhelpful at times. You can't see doorways between rooms, so two connecting areas might not actually join up. There are no icons for coloured doors. Secrets have the same icon whether you found them or not, and you can't see the map for an area that you're not currently stood in. All of this would thankfully be fixed up in the GBA games. Also, I think it's a shame that Super Metroid is still completely linear in this part of the game. I feel like this would be a great time to let players go off and kill the remaining 3 bosses in any order you like, but the game still makes you fight Phantoon before Dragon and Dragon before Ridley. This is not the end of the world. Despite what some people seem to think, I don't think linearity is necessarily a bad thing, but maybe a missed opportunity. And it would help players who got lost if they could go off, explore another part of the map, and make progress there instead. Then again, you can break this sequence. You can fight bosses in a different order, get items before you're supposed to, and skip some upgrades entirely. How? Well, when you're exploring the world in Act 2, you very well might come across these guys, a bunch of animals who will teach Samus how to do advanced maneuvers. One lets you bounce off walls, the other lets you build up speed with a speed booster and turn that kinetic energy into a massive jump. And this is really interesting because they're not actually upgrades like the Ice Beam or Morph Ball. These are just advanced maneuvers that Samus can do, and could always do, you just didn't know about them. So next time you play the game, you can use these tricks to say, get up here without the high jump boots, or get over here without the grappling hook. Unfortunately, you can't break the game apart too much unless you start using glitches and speedrunning techniques that aren't taught to you, like the mock ball and bomb jumping. But it's still something to make the game more interesting on later playthroughs, and is something that Metroid does well that many other Metroidvanias don't really incorporate. If the goal of a Metroidvania designer is to find a balance between letting the player explore on their own, but also not letting them get too lost and frustrated, then Super Metroid does a pretty stellar job. The game eases you in with a simple structure and one-way paths before letting you run loose when you're more familiar with how things work. It uses strong visual landmarks to help you build a mental map of Zebes, and there are plenty of tiny techniques to subtly guide you forward. And it also nails one of the most exciting sensations of a Metroidvania. By not always making the path forward obvious, you get the thrill of organically stumbling into an interesting new area. You can really see why this game has been so massively influential. But while it's been copied by a million indie devs, critically acclaimed by reviewers, and held up as one of the best games ever made, it wasn't a huge hit at the time. And the Metroid franchise was essentially put on ice. We'd have to wait 8 years for the series to finally return on GameCube. Luckily for us though, something quite similar came out in the intervening years. That's right, next time on Boss Keys we're putting the Vania back in Metroidvania, heading to Dracula's castle and exploring the world design of Castlevania, Symphony of the Night.
Are you ready to go on camera? Okay, you hate it. But there's another way to make amazing videos. With doodling. You don't need a camera or any fancy equipment. You can do it all in doodling.
Нет, нет. Ладно.
Я хочу пригласить Максима Роговцева, совокупно более 20 миллионов подписчиков.
Ничего не было совершенно.
Так, что тут? Это нет, это все не то.
I'm making a video game. Last time we covered me being an idiot, and I pledged to make sure the next video would finally cover level design. I might have been lying. If you want to find out, let's talk game design. But first, you're all still doing excellent work in the comments. I had this comment about speeding up the float mode, because getting back to the point that you died might be tedious, and I ignored it. Alright, I didn't, but I did sort of fix the problem anyway. Introducing the checkpoint system. The levels can get quite long, so there's now a checkpoint at roughly the halfway point. Next time you die, you'll respawn here, which cuts down on the amount of challenge I'm asking the player to do in one chunk. Some levels might even have more than one checkpoint depending on their difficulty. Now you'll never have to scroll more than half the level in float